So welcome everyone. My name is George Hood. I'm president of Herzing College. You know, recently I've been hearing a lot about the 50th anniversary of the Beatles coming to America. Well, next year, it keeps reminding me that next year is Herzing College's 50th anniversary, so I just wanted to point that out. And I thought with this event, it would be great to kick it off early with some celebrations. Really quite honored to have Minister Kenney here. Thanks for joining us. So Herzing College is an accredited college, and we deliver high-quality programs that meet the needs of employers. Our programs often have third-party credentials or accreditation, such as the paralegal program that's accredited by the Law Society, the immigration consultant program, where students become registered Canadian immigration consultants. Our graphic and web design has a strategic partnership with Adobe, and our networking program has Microsoft Cloud certifications. So with campuses in Winnipeg, Ottawa, Montreal, Toronto, and skills trades training at our pre-apprenticeship training institutes, we're well positioned to assist many students in achieving their career goals. We currently have a graduate placement rate of 94%. So that's measured 6 months after a student graduates. And we're quite proud of that. But we can only achieve this with partnerships that we have with our many employers, and some of which are here today. So I'd like to introduce some of the employers that have come and joined us here today. If you could just stand when I read your name. Anthony Kerr. Anthony's the owner and senior principal of the firm Globex Immigration and Legal Services. Anthony's a member of the Law Society of Upper Canada and vice president of the Canadian Association of Professional Immigration Consultants, member of the Paralegal Society of Ontario, and chair of the Immigration Committee for Paralegal Society of Ontario. Monica O'Brien. And Monica, thanks for coming, is current Ontario chapter president for SAPIC, the Canadian Organization of Professional Immigration Consultants, representing over 250 regulated Canadian immigration consultants. And Bruce Ferris-Willis. Hi, Bruce. Farewells, is the senior counsel and founding partner in Farewells Immigration Services, a Toronto immigration firm now in its 19th year. Bruce is a former immigration and citizenship officer with CIC. He's joined by David LeBlanc. Hi, David, managing director of Ferris-Willis. I would also like to acknowledge our immigration consultant students who we've asked to join us here today, and Cynthia Marino and Daniel Woods, immigration instructors. It's next my pleasure to introduce Serge Bouy. Serge is the senior partner of Flagship Solutions, is a government and public relations specialist, registered lobbyist with extensive experience in the management, operations, and governance of non-profit organizations. It's my pleasure to introduce Serge Bouy, Chief Executive Officer of the National Association of Career Colleges.
Thank you very much for coming. My name is Serge Bouy. As George said, I'm the CEO of the National Association of Career Colleges. The National Association has been in existence since 1896. Career colleges in Canada have been found in the 1700s, early 1800s. It's not a new thing. There have been colleges, career colleges in Canada in existence for years, providing fantastic services to students and helping students get the training and the jobs that they require in order to get the careers that they dream of. And this has been done for years, decades, centuries now, and we're proud of this. We're proud of this as the association, to be helping students, to be helping people get the jobs that they're looking for, employers to get the students that they actually need, and work together with the community, such as the immigrant serving organizations, to achieve tangible results for people. This is extremely important for us. Il est très important pour nous d'avoir des étudiants qui puissent obtenir des emplois les emplois qu'ils veulent, dans les carrières qu'ils désirent, pour avoir les succès qu'ils méritent et pour pouvoir avancer leur carrière dans l'avenir. This project that we're going to be announcing officially is extremely important for us. It is helping newcomers to Canada be able to fulfill their dreams, stay in the careers that they were hoping for, move forward and get a different jobs and an alternative to what they're looking for. I'd like to thank definitely the department for helping us on this. And I know that on occasion it is difficult when you look at the government to maneuver for the different levels of government. We have been very lucky, Minister, to work very well with your office, with your department. I know that Kim Dalglish here from your office, from your department is actually here. She's been wonderful to work with us on this, and people that actually work in the offices should be recognized as well. I'd like to thank also the immigrant serving organizations that are here today. There's a number of them, and that's important for us because we're building those bridges with them. We're building the bridges as well with the employers, and some of them are here in the room. And I'm also pleased to recognize the fact that there are a number of colleges in the room that are here to help their students and to be part of the process as well. This is an extremely important program, and thanks to you, Minister, this is going to be actually realized. And I want to introduce you a little bit, Minister. We've been working on this project for a while, and we've been working with your department, and we've been working with your previous department as well. And this is the Olympic time, and I think that there was a gold medal to be given in terms of changes in government and changes in the department, but not changes in everything. Changes in things that matter, that actually make a difference for people, be it the new regulation on immigration consulting that actually helped protect individuals, or be it in terms of the program here that we're announcing and the changes that you've been able to bring in the department of the SDC in order to make it work better with organizations such as ours. If there was such a gold medal, Minister, I would want to be able to be on the panel to award it to you. You've been wonderful to deal with, and your office has been wonderful to deal with, be it on the Canada Job Grant and other issues. We wish you well, and thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you. Merci infiniment, Serge, de cet accueil chaleureux, de vos mots très gentils. Thank you, George, as well, for welcoming me here, and to all of you for your whoops, to all of you for your patience and for finding us up here in Herzing College. I got a little lost down at the Eaton Center, but what a great location you have. And thank you to all of the business owners who are participating here and the students. I gather particularly in the Immigration Consultants program. I feel like I'm back to being Immigration Minister all over again. The job never leaves me. I had the great privilege, as many of you know, as serving as Canada's Minister of Citizenship and Immigration for almost 5 years, the longest mandate apparently in our history, during which time we welcomed, well, in fact, if you go back to the time that since Prime Minister Harper has been our head of government, Canada has welcomed over 1.8 million new permanent residents. If you can think about it, that's adding more than the population of 8 of our provinces and territories in new permanent residents, and over 1.4 million new Canadian citizens. So we continue to grow as a country with people filled with talent, intelligence, drive, initiative, innovation, who want to work hard and live the Canadian dream. And there was no greater privilege really than serving as Canada's Minister of Immigration. But now I have a new and significant challenge as Minister for Employment and Social Development, as well as continuing as our Minister for Multiculturalism. And the challenges are connected, because as you know, we welcome so many, a quarter of a million new permanent residents every year. As I say, so many of them come in with education and high aspirations, and often credentials earned in their countries of origin and various professions and trades and occupations. And yet for so many of them, they arrive in Canada and very quickly encounter challenges, frustration, and barriers to achieving their dreams, their success, their potential. And nothing frustrates me more than meeting, as I do every day, with new Canadians whose dreams and potential have been thwarted because of all sorts of reasons. Bureaucratic red tape and lack of Canadian experience. How do you, I call it the Canadian experience paradox. The employer says to you, I'm sorry, you can't apply unless you have Canadian experience. And you say to them, well, how do I get Canadian experience if I can't get a Canadian job? And then, of course, there's the enormous red tape to get credentials recognized by professional licensing bodies. Sometimes there are language barriers or challenges for linguistic proficiency in English or French, and sometimes people just don't have the networks that are necessary. They don't have the practical knowledge, the soft social skills to break into the Canadian labor force. And as a result of some or all of those factors, too many of our new Canadians end up feeling and being excluded from their potential in our economy. And that's a waste for them, it's a waste for us. I think I've often said it's immoral for us as one of the most prosperous countries in the world to invite people from some of the struggling countries to leave their good standard of living, their profession, where their skills are needed, to come to Canada only to face underemployment, or worse yet, unemployment. And that's why one of the reasons we've been making major reforms to the Canadian immigration program, so that now and in the future we can do a better job of selecting people with the skills that are relevant to the Canadian labor market, the language proficiency that will ensure employment, but also why we are trying to reform our domestic labor market programs, working with the provinces and educators, including career colleges, to better prepare people for the jobs of the future. One of the ways in which we're doing so is to try this Canada Job Grant to help incentivize employers to select people who need specific training with a guaranteed job at the end of it. And I want to thank Serge and the Association of Canadian Community Colleges the National Association of Community Colleges for their support for the job grant. One of the ways we're doing so is through our many programs working with provinces and licensing bodies and employers to streamline and accelerate the process of credential recognition and assessment for foreign trained professionals. And that's not an easy issue, because there are over 40 regulated professions in each province, and then many other regulated non-professional occupations. Each province has their own bodies and their own rules. So at the federal level, very difficult to simply solve that challenge. But we, the Government of Canada, have in the past few years invested over $50 million in the Pan-Canadian Framework for Credential Recognition for Foreign Trained Professionals, trying to get the provinces and licensing bodies together to work this out so that there's a simpler, faster process so that immigrant professionals can get an answer on their application for licensure within a year in a transparent and fair process. It's also why we launched the microcredit loans pilot program for skills upgrading for immigrant professionals. Wonderful little program. We've issued through partner organizations over 1,000 loans of up to $10,000 to help pay for the kind of education that many people are getting here at Herzing College, to pay for the additional courses they may need or their certification exams in order to get the license so they can get the job of their dreams. I have met people that have gone from being convenience store clerks to highly paid bookkeepers in the Canadian energy industry in Calgary, thanks to that little hand up through that microcredit loan. So we're doing all sorts of practical things to try to lower and eventually eliminate those barriers to the successful economic integration of newcomers. And today I'm here to announce another such effort in partnership with the National Association of Career Colleges, particularly through its Alternative Pathway for Newcomers project. I am very pleased to announce that the Government of Canada will be investing $800,000 in funding to this Alternative Pathways for Newcomers project, which will help internationally trained individuals with foreign credentials that have been unable to find employment in the fields for which they've been trained. This project will provide information to these people so they can explore other occupations within or related to their area of expertise. For example, here at Herzing College, there's a program that recognizes the experience of internationally trained lawyers and gives them training they need to be paralegals. And I think I just met a couple of them at the class going on next door. Robertson College, which exists in Manitoba and Alberta, recognizes the foreign training and expertise of nurses and offers them a program with an accelerated path to healthcare aid certification. In addition to Herzing College, this project will be carried out through partnerships between career colleges right across the country, employers, immigrant serving organizations, and professional associations in all major cities. Our government's top priorities are creating jobs, economic growth, and long-term prosperity. And we recognize that skilled newcomers help to fill shortages in key occupations and make an important contribution to the Canadian economy. So these things are very important. And let me just close by saying what a great partnership we see here between, I know some of the folks involved in the actual training, of course, places like Herzing, employers, licensing bodies, the government. This is what we need to do, all working together in the same direction to ensure that people live and realize the Canadian dream, that their experience as new Canadians is one of success and not frustration and disappointment. And I really appreciate the work of the career college sector. You know, there are some misconceptions sometimes out there about the career colleges, and I recognize that career colleges are amongst the most highly regulated institutions in the educational sector. And the people who come to career colleges, many of the students who are here today, and those who are in the classrooms right around us, they are making a real, serious, often sacrificial investment in their future. They have families often to take care of. Most of the students, as you know, career colleges are adults or young adults. Many have families to take care of. Many are working on developing skills for their second career, and to pay the tuition costs, to come downtown, come to school these are, instead of taking income in a job, this is a big step for a lot of people. And we should be supporting the investment that people are making in their own professional development, in their own education. And people go to career colleges for the clear purpose of improving their employment and improving their potential because they want to go to work. These aren't people sitting at home on welfare. These aren't people who want to sit around collecting employment insurance. These are people who want to improve their income, their salary, their skills, realize their potential, and they're willing to make an investment in that. And career colleges have like Herzing, have a phenomenal rate of placement. I think yours is 93%. 94, I was right, 94% of placing, successfully seeing graduates employed, fruitfully employed at the end of their studies. That's the kind of personal responsibility where the private sector is providing a highly professional product, of educational product, and individuals are coming and contributing to that. That is more of what we need to see in our economy to address what many call the skills gap. So I'm a big fan of what you're doing at Herzing and the other career colleges across the country. One last shout out here to the folks who are involved in the immigration consulting program. One of the important achievements that we had during my tenure at immigration was reforming the regulation of immigration consultants. And I had been, I'll be honest, very frustrated with the old regulator. I won't mention any names. CSIC. I was very frustrated that they were creating unnecessary barriers to training and certification of ethical, properly formed immigration consultants, including Herzing, that had applied, I've gathered, for several years and was not able to get licensure to certification to prepare future immigration consultants. And that's one of the reasons why, after an exhaustive study of the process and a fair assessment, we selected a new regulatory body so that we can help protect consumers, improve the reputation of the industry as a legitimate profession, and ensure that the doors are open to many choices for proper education and training for immigration consultants. I'm glad to see that many of you are benefiting from our reform in that area. Permettez-moi, I'm just going to say a few words. Y a-t-il de médias francophones ici?
Oui, Radio-Canada.
Ok, voilà. Alors, juste une sommaire en français, puis pour dire que, évidemment, un des défis les plus grands pour les nouveaux Canadiens est la reconnaissance de leur diplôme pour qu'ils puissent travailler fructueusement dans l'économie canadienne. Et il y a tellement de nouveaux Canadiens qui sont déçus parce que pour plusieurs raisons, ils ne peuvent pas obtenir les emplois à leur niveau de compétence. Et donc ça, c'est une des raisons pour lesquelles on a fait les réformes fondamentales dans le système d'immigration pour mieux choisir les immigrants avec les compétences pour obtenir les emplois, souvent dans les domaines où il y a une pénurie de main-d'œuvre, une pénurie de compétences. Donc, ça, c'est très important. Mais l'autre volet est à l'échelle domestique. Nous travaillons avec les ordres professionnels, les gouvernements provinciaux, les institutions éducationnelles, y compris les collèges de carrière, pour mieux reconnaître les compétences, les habilités des professionnels formés outre-mer. Donc, un des projets dont je suis très fier, j'annonce aujourd'hui, et ça c'est une subvention de 800 000 $ des fonds fédéraux à l'Association nationale des collèges de carrière et particulièrement leur programme alternatif pour les nouveaux arrivants. Ça va aider ces personnes-là d'obtenir le renseignement dont ils ont besoin pour faire la formation supplémentaire au Canada dans peut-être les domaines qui sont liés à leur formation originale étrangère. Et donc, je suis très optimiste que ça va aider milliers des nouveaux Canadiens qui font leurs études au collège de carrière. Donc, ça, c'est juste un des plusieurs projets que nous avons pour aider ces personnes-là de réaliser leur potentiel. So, thank you very much, and really hope I get a chance to chat with some of you later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Kenney, and everything you've done for Canada. And in particular, I always think about students and put students first. And my next speaker is someone that in 2011, Gennady Sergei Bogutsky graduated from National University of Shevchenko with Masters of Civil Law degree, and from National University of Oinko with Masters of Education degree, both in the Ukraine. Later that year, he was admitted to the master's program at the University of Toronto and successfully graduated in 2012 with A+ grade in Canadian citizenship and immigration policies. Shortly after that, Sergei attended Herzing College. And this was just recently in 2013, and graduated from the Immigration Consultant Program, receiving a diploma with honors and was awarded Student of the Year. He passed the ICCRC licensing exam in 2013 and was offered a placement at an internship host company arranged by the Herzing Career Department. It's my extreme pleasure to welcome honor graduate, Student of the Year, Sergei Bogutsky.
My wife to join me as well because she's the current student of this program. This is just what you were talking about. We have families and thank you. Okay, so Honorable Minister Kenney, President Wood, Herzing students and staff, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to be here today and would like to thank you for coming. So the main discussion today is focused on second career options for newcomers to Canada. And as we all know, immigration is a big challenge. And as we all know as well, employment is a key to success in this great country which was built by strong people and for strong people. And most of the questions are, what do newcomers need to gain employment? How do they get their credentials and experience utilized here? And one of potential answers refers to career colleges like Herzing. And me personally, I had to find an answer to the above questions as well. Because after me and my wife finished our university studies in Ukraine, as Mr. Food said, I was admitted to the U of T. I successfully finished my program with the major in citizenship and immigration policy. Yeah. Well, no, I wouldn't mind. I received 8+ for that grade, but then I realized that I needed some more practical experience, and that's what brought me to Herzing. Because like you can fill this gap between the theory and the practice that you do, so that was the perfect fit for me, and that's why my wife is here as well. And she's looking forward to start working as soon as possible with help of Herzing Career Department. And this college provided me with a hands-on experience, internship, and assistance with the professional licensing with the ICCRC. That also helped. And after completion of the Herzing Immigration Practitioner Program, I successfully passed the ICCRC licensing exam on the first attempt and was offered a place in the internship host company. And this is my personal experience, but I believe that all newcomers should contribute to the development of Canada. And the only thing they need, just as you said, some more practical training, some in a Canadian setting, so that the previous education and credentials would be recognized. And they get some Canadian experience through the internship. So this is the way to resolve this problem. And that's why my wife, who is here today, she joined Herzing College last term, and she's looking forward to start work as soon as possible. And finally, I'd like to say that Canada is the country that we all love, and me especially after my son was born just 1 block away at St. Michael's Hospital. It was the best day in my life. So we all should make our contribution to the development of the country. And I strongly believe that career colleges, just like Herzing, they help us to make a step towards this final goal. So thank you.
Sergey, thank you so much for that. So you've heard from a student, now we'd like to hear from an employer. David LeBlanc is the Managing Director of Farewell's Immigration Services for the past 12 years and is a regulated Canadian immigration consultant and a member of ICCRC and KPIC. David? They've also hired many of our Herzing graduates.
Thank you. Honorable Mr. Kenney, Herzing College staff and directors, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. There are very few career opportunities that allow somebody to, as Mr. Kenney mentioned, start from, let's say, a retail clerk or somebody from behind a beautician's counter or a florist. And the reason why I use these 3 examples is that that's exactly who we have as former people in their former career that completed the program. People that have transformed their lives and decided they wanted to do something different, and they came to Herzing. Herzing offers a very unique program that allows the first step in the transition from these former lives to doing something that's actually quite remarkable. Immigration consultants are called to do many things, and every now and then we get to be the hero in people's lives. So this is actually quite a remarkable profession. Herzing is very careful in the teachers that they choose. They've had some absolutely remarkable colleagues of mine that have been teachers, and there's a wonderful balance of knowledge and wisdom and compassion and practical skills as they review all of the programs. So I really commend Herzing for their ability to identify key players in the industry to be excellent teachers. The interns that we've had working with us have shown a remarkable grasp of the basic programs, and the immigration programs are very complicated. So it's wonderful that they have such a wonderful grasp when they come in, and they actually make ideal interns. You can actually see the light going on in their heads when you show them something and say, oh my God, that's what that meant. When the teacher talked about that program, now it has reality, it makes sense. So we thank you for the opportunity to have people interning with us and to be able to make offers of employment. One of the things that Serge mentioned earlier was that he wanted to give a potential Olympic gold medal to Minister Kenney. So I have another award that I'd like to offer Minister Kenney. It's a little bit less suspicious than a gold medal. It's actually it's a teddy bear sticker from all of the immigration consultants in all of Canada. Minister Kenney came along, as he admitted in his former life as immigration minister, there are some days when the announcements come out from Ottawa that I swear you haven't left. But he did something that was absolutely remarkable for the profession in its darkest days. And he recognized that for the first time in broad daylight on Bay Street, there were people in a regulated profession that were oppressed and were being persecuted by a regulatory body. And he took action and did something. So that shows remarkable integrity, remarkable caring, and determined.
Still suing me for it.
That's okay. That money's soon to run out. So it's remarkable that we get a chance to thank a parliamentarian for taking determined action, and for a very real way. Minister Kenney has been the hero to the entire profession, and for that we thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. We're getting near the end of the presentation. There's going to be a media scrum, as they call it. I'd like to thank David for his words of wisdom and his insight and all that he's done for interning our students and hiring a great many. I just want to let everybody know that once we're finished here, there is a tour of the campus available. We're quite proud of this facility. We've got, even though we're hidden away up above in the Eaton Center, we've got about 15,000 square feet with 10 classrooms, a library. So there's lots to see at Career Services Department. So we'll be giving tours for anybody that's interested in that. And the minister will also be, Minister Kenney will also be available for questions from the media following the group photo. So thank you so much, everyone.
Come on up, guys. We'll do a picture. A group picture for everyone. Sergey, big tall guy. You play hockey?
My son got an invitation to join the team. There is more.
Sure. Sure.
I was in Kiev last March. I love that. I was in you as well. I'm sure your friend here calls it football.
It's good that you can play both sides.
Yes.
So thank you for that.
All right, thank you. Thank you. So, thank you very much. Check you. Okay, thank you. So, I'll take questions from the journalists. Normally we do kind of a scrum, but I think there's not enough space and too many reporters. So do you mind being patient? And just a heads up to all of the audience here, often the questions don't have anything to do with the announcement. Don't worry about that. Go ahead. Media questions?
Minister, you just point out that...
Here's the mic.
There's a mic on the side, but that's okay. I can hear you.
In your speech, you point out that new immigrants normally will encounter some barriers when they first start looking for jobs, such like red tapes and language barriers and Canadian experience. So by giving immigrants this alternative career choice, doesn't mean that those barriers are gone. Those barriers are still there. So my question is, how do you make sure that those students who graduated from these career colleges, they won't suffer those barriers anymore? And how is you plan to eliminate those career barriers for the immigrants?
Well, there's never a guarantee that people are not going to struggle to find their desired employment. Whether you're born in Canada from a family that's been here for 10 generations or you just arrived last week, you're always going to find certain challenges in achieving your dreams. And it just takes hard work and resilience. And the good news is this: our data indicates that the vast majority of immigrants to Canada, particularly those who are selected economic immigrants, do very well economically after a period of time. In fact, federal skilled workers, the main economic immigrants who we select, make more than the average Canadian income after 10 years in Canada. So, and with the immigration reforms we've made, which I think are doing a better job of selecting people based on the kinds of competencies they need in Canada, we're going to see that increase. The provincial nominee program, very big in Western Canada, improving economic outcomes. So, the big picture story is that, yes, there are often challenges that people face when they come here in their initial years, but the vast majority of immigrants, if they work hard, overcome those barriers. And we as governments just have to keep knocking down those barriers. And I must admit a certain frustration at the federal level, because most of those barriers are at the provincial level. They control, and this is not passing the buck, it's just reality, they control the regulation and licensure of professions, of careers, of occupations. They regulate career colleges as well. And so the regulation of immigration consultants is a very rare example of a federally regulated profession because it's created under federal law. It's dealing with the administration of federal law, the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act. And now, by the way, as of the law that Bill introduced yesterday, you're all going to have to get trained up on and to be licensed specifically under the Citizenship Act as licensed citizenship consultants. So there's a new line of formation for Herzing.
Yeah.
But so what we're trying to do is, I mean, I could give you a 3-hour seminar on all the different efforts and programs, but to summarize, we're providing people with better pre-arrival information before they get to Canada. We've invested tens of millions of dollars on free career counseling, how to apply for credentials before they get to Canada, after they've been selected, but before they leave their home country. We're giving personalized counseling and information sessions so people have a game plan for their integration when they arrive here. We're doing a better job of selecting people who have the language and relevant educational skills that will be recognized by Canadian employers. We're investing tens of millions of dollars in work with the provincial licensing bodies so that they can harmonize their testing and certification from coast to coast, facilitating greater labor mobility within Canada, and also trying to get a guarantee from the provincial licensing bodies that they will give applicants an answer on their application for licensure in less than a year. We've got the microcredit loans, trying to give a bit of a financial hand up to folks who can't get financing and have to work a survival job but need to take additional programming education at places like Herzing. We're doing things like this program I announced today. So there's dozens of programs out there, all of them trying to go in the same direction. But I'm not going to pretend that these efforts will eliminate the challenges that many newcomers face. It's just a question of making it better. We'll never make it absolutely simple for people, as much as I'd like to.
Minister Kenney.
Can I just take questions from the media
sure.
first?
Hi, Minister. So you just announced the investment of the funding. So I just want to know how does the money will be distributed to the different departments, and how the money will be used?
Serge, this is a program that the National Association of Career Colleges has applied for. So the support is going to them to work with their member colleges. Serge, would you like to fill in details?
Thank you, Minister, and thank you for the question. The answer is simple. What we're doing is we're creating a network of partnerships between immigrant serving organizations, employer groups, and career colleges to provide information to help newcomers find different pathways to education and to new careers. So the money is invested in terms of the information that will be created, will be developed and sent, the partnerships, helping the newcomers on a one-on-one basis with people, the resources that are hired to help the process and move forward to help them find real jobs and real training opportunities.
So it'll be in part reaching out to immigrant professionals, letting them know that a second career is, in some cases, a good option, a good idea. I'll give you an example. I've met many medical doctors trained abroad, can't get their license in Canada, partly because they can't get a residency position. Provincial governments have rationed the number of residency positions. There are not even enough residency positions for the number of Canadian medical students graduating, let alone the number of Canadians studying a medical school abroad. And then you add on to that the number of immigrant doctors who come here with overseas training. So there's a scarcity of residency positions, and that's why we have doctors driving cabs in Toronto. And the truth is, unless and until the provinces decide to massively expand, double or triple the number of residency positions, there will be foreign trained doctors can't get their license, can't get their residency. So we want to say to them, through a program like this, if you're driving a cab, so to speak, working at Max Mill, maybe you should think about coming to a place like Herzing or another college where you can train up to become a paramedic. You can use the medical skills you developed overseas, get familiar with the Canadian environment and technology and language, and through a program like this, become a paramedic and make very good money. And by the way, be satisfied that you're working with patients. And maybe at some point down the line, you'll find you get that residency. So it's reaching out to people like that, letting them know about possibilities, sitting down and offering them counseling to bridge them from the taxi cab to the ambulance.
So this Plan B approach, are there specific sectors that the program is going to be developed for, or is it across all regulated professions as well?
Serge, what are...
There are some careers that we're going to be focusing on and putting a little bit more of a focus, but we are going to be looking at all career college programs that are offered and to help the newcomers in Canada. So there are some focuses in the IT field, in the healthcare field, in the skilled trade field, etc., but it is open for others.
Yes.
Minister, yesterday, Alexandra, the current Minister of Immigration, announced the new Citizenship Reform Act, but the federal opposition party criticized this act will provide much more power than before to the minister, and they are worried that it will delay the process of dealing with the backlog. So what's your comment for that?
No, in fact, one of the advantages of the Strengthening Canadian Citizenship Act is that it will streamline the process and speed up the process for obtaining the citizenship. Eventually, after 5 years, it will move the citizenship judges to a strictly ceremonial and educational role, moving from 2 levels of decision makers to 1 on citizenship applications. So in the future, 5 years from now, it will just be officers of CIC making the decision. Of course, applications can always be appealed if there's a need to at the federal court, but that's a faster process. And by the way, CIC is going to be in the future having people do their knowledge test before they submit their application. So they would go to perhaps a place like this, would be certified to administer the knowledge test, which would be evaluated electronically, and then people would get a certificate certifying they passed it. Same with the language test. So you get all of that stuff done up front, you submit it in your application, CIC officer will review it, and if you are qualified, they'll approve it. Also with the exit entry information system that we will be implementing later this year, we will no longer have problems assessing whether people meet the residency requirement. The so-called astronauts who actually live abroad while pretending to be in Canada will be caught now, because we'll have an electronic record of when they came into and left from Canada. All of those measures together mean a much more efficient system, faster processing, which is what we need. Also, the higher fees that Minister Alexander announced yesterday means that we'll be able to hire more officers. Here's the simple problem. 2012, we received 340,000 citizenship applications, and our current funding allows us to process about 170,000 applications. So the volume is far exceeding the resources CIC has to process, which is why by raising the fees, we can actually hire more staff and process the applications faster. In terms of the more ministerial discretion, I think that's only in the area of citizenship revocation on straightforward cases. Here's the problem. The very few people get revoked. As I mentioned, we've had 1.4 million new citizens in the last 8 years, and we've revoked from a few dozen, and maybe there's a couple of 3,000 more who we believe committed residency fraud. So it's a very small fraction, but it's a very long, exhaustive, multi-step legal process to actually revoke from someone, including some of these terrible Second World War war criminals. There are war criminals, guys who were involved in Nazi atrocities in the Second World War, from who did not declare that when they came to Canada, who lied about their past, okay? So they committed fraud. And we have been trying in some cases to revoke their citizenship for 25 years or longer. But every time a decision is taken, there's an appeal and an appeal and an appeal. And so what this new act would do is just remove one of those steps. So the minister himself could, upon advice from the police that there had been a commission of fraud, the minister himself would be able to revoke the citizenship, which would then be reviewed by the federal court, instead of the minister going to the cabinet. So I think when the opposition says that, it's just a meaningless talking point. Yes.
Oui, en français, s'il vous plaît, Gabrielle de Radio-Canada. Si j'ai bien compris, ce programme-là donne de l'information, va servir à donner de l'information aux nouveaux arrivants pour les diriger vers des programmes. Donc, ça ne répond pas nécessairement à la reconnaissance des diplômes. Donc, j'aimerais vous entendre là-dessus. Là. C'est vraiment une nouvelle carrière pour les nouveaux arrivants et non de reconnaître leurs acquis déjà.
Écoutez, le fédéral n'est pas responsable pour la réglementation des ordres professionnels. Ils sont créés par les provinces comme le Collège des médecins, le Collège des ingénieurs. Tous ces organismes-là, des ordres professionnels, sont gouvernés par les provinces. Donc, ce que nous faisons là-dessus est à subventionner beaucoup de travail avec les ordres professionnels pour simplifier et accélérer le processus de reconnaissance des titres professionnels. Et ça, c'est quelque chose d'autre. Ça, c'est notre démarche que nous appuyons. Mais évidemment, il y aura des personnes, y compris ceux, il faut reconnaître là, que seulement 20% des immigrants au Canada, 20% des immigrants économiques sont dans une occupation professionnelle réglementée. Ça veut dire 80% là, ne cherchent pas des emplois dans les ordres professionnels. Donc ici, nous nous adressons à cette grande majorité des immigrants qui ne sont pas en mesure d'obtenir leurs acquis.
Pour monsieur, vous avez parlé d'une médaille olympique d'or, que cet argent-là représentait le 800 000 $. C'est vraiment, je vous mets un peu devant le fait accompli, mais dans une certaine mesure, 800 000 $, c'est beaucoup d'argent pour ce que vous avez l'intention de faire à travers le Canada?
Non, c'est extrêmement bien et c'est extrêmement utile pour ce qu'on va faire à travers le Canada. Je pense que mon commentaire était surtout pour beaucoup de changements qui ont été faits par M. le ministre dans les dernières années, dans ce portefeuille et dans le portefeuille précédent. Je pense que les changements qui ont été apportés ont été excellents, ils ont été tangibles et permettent aux gens d'avoir des emplois dans les professions qu'ils veulent, que ce soit à travers la subvention du Canada pour l'emploi qui a été créée, que nous supportons énormément, que ce soit en Ontario et dans le reste du Canada, au Québec, ou que ce soit pour ce programme ici qui nous permettra de donner des détails à des gens qui en ce moment n'ont pas d'espoir, qui sont dans des emplois subalternes, que nous allons pouvoir aider à obtenir des emplois dans les professions qu'ils cherchent. C'est ce genre de différence qui fait que nous sommes réellement heureux avec les changements apportés par le ministre.
Just to translate, she wants to take away my gold medal. Just kidding. Just kidding. I don't have one, actually. I don't even have my sticky bear. Whatever. All right, one or two last questions from the media? No.
Hi, Minister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir.
With the federal budget, is going to be delivered next week, February 11th by Jim Factory. So will this kind of investment, like microcredit loans or investment on the job creation, be included?
Yes. Well, I can't tell you the details of the budget because A, I don't know them, and B, if I did, I can't tell you. But our focus in the budget will undoubtedly continue to be jobs, growth, and long-term prosperity. We were pleased today to see the jobs report for the month of January indicating the creation of 24,400 net new jobs, overwhelmingly private sector jobs in the Canadian economy. That's a positive news, but the global economy remains fragile. The focus of this budget will clearly be job creation, but also getting to balanced budget by the next fiscal year, by 2015. And so I anticipate we'll see continued fiscal restraint with a focus, if we have any new programming, on the area of job creation. Look, a lot of the things that we announced in the last budget, we're still in the process of implementing, like the Canada Job Grant. I hope that I may have an announcement about renewing the microcredit loan for education for immigrants. And so, you know, we're doing a lot of these things already. They were announced before. There's money in the fiscal framework for these initiatives, like the announcement today. But we do have to be. We can't just spend like drunken sailors. We have to be very responsible in our spending, so we get to a balanced budget and keep taxes down. Now, yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, is there any more media questions? Go ahead.
Okay. I'm one of the instructors at Herzing and the ICCRC program, and I'm just wondering if the microcredit loan would be available to the students to either fund the membership fees to ICCRC. As you can understand, they have gone through 6 months with no income.
Yeah.
And now they're faced to start their career. They have to pay the ICCRC fees.
I'll look to Dominic. Could you look into that? My recollection is we do authorize for it to cover certification exams, and it does membership as well. I'm not sure about membership. I'll look into that. But your point is well taken. These are people who have given up their income, regular income, and they often have an obligation to put food on the table for their family. They've depleted their savings in moving to Canada. They've often been stuck in a survival job. Sometimes having difficulty getting credit in Canada, especially credit for things like living expenses. So that's why we created the microcredit loan, to help those folks bridge into pay for the education and certification they need to improve their income, take care of their families. And I'm very happy to tell you that we have an initial evaluation of that program that's very positive. I believe in general about 95% of these foreign professionals are paying back the loan. So that's good for any bank, and it just shows you how great these folks are that we're working with. I better wrap up there. We started late, and I'm taking too much of your time. Thank you very much, George. Thank you, Serge, and merci beaucoup tout le monde. Thank you so much.